Hey everyone, we're back with a fix for rituals so you can start enjoying them again. So what I did is I went back to the lab and formulated a new chemical X for rituals. First, we'll take a look at the maps. So maps are nearly the same as I previously covered. The only difference, we don't get safety portals. Alright, GGG, they have forced us into submission. We get no revives. So if we die, negative fun per hour. Hopefully they'll change this one day, but we have fully modded maps. I'm just going to show 10 as an example, so no revives on any of these. And what we do is we use diluted liquid guilt, which is going to give us 24% increased pack size. This is a pretty low roll, we only have 31% on this one. So what I'll do is I will quickly instill all of these and we'll take it from there. Okay, once we have fully modded maps with distilled emotions on them, we can see monster pack size 48%, 57, 44, 43. You do not need omens of chaotic quantity. These are 4 exalts apiece, plus you're going to have to use a chaos orb. So that is going to add 20 exalts per map, just for a little bit more pack size. So I've tested this, and these maps will do just fine. What we can then do is we can evolve these maps. So let's see, we have 48% pack size, that didn't change, 54. This one went down, 43. We got a tier 16. Let's see, tier 14, unfortunate, 54% pack size, that one went up. Another tier 16. Another tier 16, and that is why we want to just exalt slam the maps and then vol them. Now, I don't recommend you run tier 16 maps. You can sell these. So if we look for Waystones tier 16, this one is going to get insta-purchased. 55 exalts for tier 16 maps with no juice. No distilled emotions, hardly any increased pack size, which means we can just sell these for maybe 80 plus exalts a piece, and we're already at half a divine profit, and we haven't even started running rituals. Granted, you have, I think, a 1 in 10 chance of corrupting a tier 15 to a tier 16, so I think I got super lucky with these. Now, if we were to use the omens of chaotic quantity, we can see monster pack size 26%. These do cost chaos orbs, but we go to 56%, 61%. However, that was about 200 exalts for 10 maps. And then with distilled emotions, we can see these are right around 80%, give or take, about 10% usually. Sometimes you can hit 90%. Now, if we were to evolve these, chances are they're going to break. So 80% pack size. Okay, the RNG is hitting today. Let's see, over here. See, this one went down, 64%. We have 86 over here. The do not expect to be hitting evolves like this. I don't know what's going on. But usually, if you evolve a map that you've added, 20 exalts to, it's going to giga break. 78%, see that one went down, 79%, became tier 14, stayed the same. This went down to tier 14, 78, this one went up 10%. Maybe not the best example, because the RNG is just going absolutely insano style today. This little bit of extra pack size, I would say, is only really needed if you're running bad maps for rituals like Forge or Mire. Maps with narrow pathways, because when a ritual spawns on a map with a narrow pathway, there's going to be less available real estate for enemies to spawn. Less enemies equals less tribute. So now that we have the map set up, let's take a look at the tablets. And we are running 2 different sets of tablets. So for the first set, this is what we're going to run for 10, 15 maps at a time. So we have on this tablet about 70% increased magic monsters, and deferring favors at ritual altars and maps costs 22% reduced tribute. We combine that with a precursor tablet to add irradiation to maps for the +1 level. So +1 level, plus tier 15 maps equals area level 80, so we can drop those super valuable purple omens. Again, we just saw the price of tier 16 maps, 50 exalts apiece, so it is not really worth it to run tier 16s because of how expensive they are. And then we are running the unique tablet for double rerolls. This is going to give us 4 rerolls per map, plus the base page, so 5 pages of loot. And this is going to increase the cost of favors and their deferral cost, even though it doesn't say it does. And something to note is the Atlas passive to double the effect of precursor tablets does not affect this. So even if you get an Atlas proc, you are not going to get 6 rerolls. You will still have just 4. You want to just do rituals and only defer when you have to, when there's a red border around the item, meaning that you will lose it if you do not defer it on that map. You also want to make sure you're leaving yourself at least 1,000 tribute on that final page. So if you have a 1,000 tribute with 1 reroll left, that reroll would cost 750 tribute and you'd go to your last page with only 250 tribute. So if something valuable appears, you won't have enough tribute to defer it. So always make sure you have anywhere from 800 to 1,000 tribute left for your last page of loot. Now, if you have 1 reroll remaining and you have 1,000 tribute, use that remaining tribute to just defer anything you have in your ritual altar. Because once the altar starts getting full, we're going to switch to our second tablet set. Now, for this one, we have ritual altars in maps allow rerolling favors 2 additional times. So we can see a tablet like this is 1 divine. Make sure they have all of their uses remaining. We're only going to run this for 2 or 3 maps. So we run about 15 maps with the standard set, and then we run 2 or 3 maps with this tablet. Which means you're only going to need to invest 1 divine for a tablet like this every 30, 40, maybe even 50 maps, because if you get an Atlas proc, you will only need to run this 1 map, and then you can run another 10, 15 plus maps with your first set and build up all of those items in your ritual altar. For the second set, we also combo that with a precursor tablet. We want that area level 80 for those purple omens. And then for the final tablet, we have deferring favors at ritual altars costs reduced tribute. So we can see these 2 are exactly the same as these 2. Now, why this tablet is so good is because if we get an Atlas proc for the double effect of precursor tablets, plus that 32% that we're getting from the Atlas tree, this is actually going to give you an additional 5 rerolls plus your base 2. So if you get an Atlas proc just running this tablet, that is 7 rerolls at 750 tribute each to reroll, and you will have 0 deferral cost. Because even though this says 24%, that's getting doubled, plus we're getting the 32% bonuses to precursor tablets, bringing us to over 50%, plus the 50% we get from the Atlas tree. So now I will show you the Atlas tree, and I did make a couple changes. I got rid of my rarity, just 9%, and I did lose that little bit of quantity in exchange for just boosting explicit modifiers on waystones. I also finally dropped local knowledge just because this does change the weighting of items, so in certain maps it can make divines a little bit more rare, so I finally did decide to just do away with these. The most important nodes are up here. So we have the increased effect of explicits, we have the 20% chance to double the effect of precursor tablets, and then we combine that with 8, 16, 24, 32% increased effect of precursor tablets. So that is how this will provide 5 additional rerolls plus your base 2, so you get 7 rerolls if you get an Atlas proc. And that's also how you will achieve 0 deferral cost running just 1 of these tablets. We have another 3% explicit modifier effect for each tablet affecting a map. We run 3 tablets at a time, that's another 9%. And then we just have increased number of monster packs. These are the only 2 nodes on the tree that provide an increase to the number of monster packs. We come down here, pack size, magic monsters, magic pack size, magic monsters, increase pack size. We want as many monsters as possible, and then we finish off the Atlas tree over here. These 3 nodes don't matter too much, but over here we have another 6% increased effect to explicit modifiers, 2% increased effect of explicit modifiers on your waystones for each explicit modifier. So if we hold Alt, we can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 modifiers over here. That is a 12% increase. But with corruption, if we look at this map, we have 8 modifiers on this one. I honestly didn't even know this was possible. Now, what these do is the stronger the modifiers, the greater the boost to these stats we get. That is why we're stacking so much effect of explicit modifiers. And then we just finish this off with increased pack size, another 9% up here. And then waystones have 25% more effect of prefix modifiers or 25% more effect of suffix modifiers when opening maps. So each map, you're going to get a 25% boost to the prefix mods or a 25% boost to the suffix mods. Now, if you're only working with 25 or maybe 30 points, I'd say you could get away with scaling down some of the effect of explicit modifiers. So you could get back like these 3 points, you could get back these 2 points, and then maybe even scale down all of the rare monsters. Finally, we have the Ritual Atlas. We have 50% reduced tribute cost to defer, so that your purple omens don't cost 3,000 tribute to defer. Reroll an additional time, that's 1 more page of loot, with a 25% reduction to the cost to rerolls. So when we're getting 4 or even 7 rerolls per map, this really adds up. 100% increased chance for your favors to be omens. We want those purples, we want the money. And then our maps always have 4 altars, so rituals continue scaling up. So your first ritual, even if you get 400 tribute, your last ritual can be 2,500 plus. Now, the final thing to mention, there are some other tablets. So ritual favors in maps have 54% increased chance to be omens. Something like this is not necessary, because even if you stack 2 of these, we're already getting a 100% increase from the ritual atlas. So I would recommend we just stick with these 2 sets. So what I'll do, I'm going to keep these in my inventory. I'll move my maps over here. We will run 1 map together, and I'm going to use the slightly more expensive set because I do have some pretty expensive items in my altars that I want to get rid of. So we will run Bluff. I think this is a semi-decent map. It's super linear. What do we have here? Ignited ground, whatever. So we have 54% increased pack size with nearly 70% increased magic monsters. We can throw in the 3 tablets, and we'll run 1 map like this. And Bluff is just one of the best maps. It's super linear, it's just like Ravine. And we won't do the entire map. I think I'll just showcase 1 ritual altar and then we'll skip to the end. So let's see how much tribute we can get from this. Wow. It's that was pretty good. We can take a look at our stats. We got a huge Atlas proc. That is so fortunate. So I can show you exactly what I was talking about. But we can see 100% increased pack size, double monsters, nearly 500% increased number of magic monsters. That is so much. And that is why we are running these tablets. I also should have mentioned on these tablets, the prefix is map has increased magic monsters. Over here, map has increased magic monsters. So these stats plus the atlas, you can see we are getting an absolutely insane number of magic monsters and just pack size. And I hate having 1 portal. I usually just run into enemies without a care in the world, but knowing that I got an Atlas proc, plus only having 1 portal, it's scary. It's tough out here. So we've done only 3 out of 4 rituals. We already have 4,200 tribute. Look at this, 7 rerolls, even though the tablet only had 2 additional rerolls. So we can just defer everything. We can see total deferral cost 0 with just 1 deferral cost reduction tablet. So we can just go absolutely crazy. Oh, it looks like everything is too cheap to defer. Maybe I didn't even need to use this tablet again. So we can just re-roll. I have a purple in here somewhere. And there it is. A big ol' money drop. I got this yesterday while I was recording this video, but my mic wasn't on. So I recorded this video yesterday. It was recording, mic was on, everything was fine. I wasn't super happy with how it came out, so I recorded like another 7 minutes, but my mic wasn't on. All right, I deleted that clip. I turned my mic on, recorded like another 7 minutes, but then I realized I wasn't recording that. So I'm just like, you know what? I'll just re-record the entire thing. And that's what we're doing here today. So I got this yesterday. The reaction lost to time because I wasn't recording, so that's unfortunate. But we can just defer all of these, continue knocking down the cost. This right here, this is why we run area level 80. And again, I'll take that and that. Take that. Another reroll. Oh, that could have been a whittling. I'll defer everything again. We have 2 more rerolls, but I have 1 more ritual. So what I do is I start shopping after doing 2, maybe 3 rituals. Just because 1 revive, you never know what's gonna happen. We'll go do the final ritual, get those last 2 pages of loot, and we can see on the final ritual we have just enough for 2 more rerolls. I don't even think I'll purchase this. Everything has been deferred. Give me my last 2 rerolls. We'll just keep deferring everything, and I'll just purchase everything during my next map. And the final reroll. That could be something. That could be something. It could be an Omen of Resurgence. Chances are it's an Omen of Resurgence. Or that, Sinistral Exaltation. Now, of course, I am re-rolling into a final page with only 34 tribute because the deferral cost is 0. And there we have it. Rituals are back. And again, now that my ritual altar is pretty much empty, what I can do is I can drop this. Again, this is a divine. We do not want to run this every single time. So we can drop this, and we can go with this slightly more affordable option. These are like 5 exalts apiece. It's 1 exalt per map versus 40. And now we can just run 10, 15 maps. When I get 3 columns of loot again, we'll just swap these out. I'll use this setup to purchase everything. I'll run 2, 3 maps like this, and then we go back. Rinse and repeat. So yeah, I think we're just about done for today. As always, everyone, take care.